Click the links, the alternative video platforms, or to join the Discord, get a way to keep in touch, or to support the channel, coffee, crypto, or the other means. So I've been reading a bunch of comics while I've been dodging the rain in California, and I came across this Nubia trans Wonder Woman issue. And clearly we have a different definition of what sexy means, because this is what they consider to be powerful and sexy. I mean, it's a little bit confusing because I think majority of one sex does not think that their same sex is sexy. So it's kind of a weird flex where they do that. So how do I put this? Mainstream comics don't matter, or they matter for what the motive behind the propaganda is. The stories, they're absolutely unreadable. You can find them online. But what are they trying to say? What's the deeper message? Is Fauci a minion of Satan? Yes, probably, but that's not the topic at hand. This short scene sort of sums up comics from this point on out. This is going to be them. You have a Pox, BLT, POC, WOC, who's given a puzzle. A bunch of girls are given this puzzle, and she's the first one to solve it. She just solves it instantly. It's some sort of Rubik's Cube puzzle, because she's the only one who could solve it. If you had, I don't think there's any, they're all POCs, because, you know, the Greek myth of the South American story, they're all Africans in this story. I don't know how that works anyway, but there's no actual Greek girls in here. They're all African or Asian or something. You couldn't have like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl solve the puzzle. It has to be the African chick, because they take this. They have a hierarchy of this soft bigotry of lowered expectations, and it's very real. So when you pick up one of their comics, you see who's in it, and you know the story. I mean, the story is complete upon looking at the cover. I mean, if you see blonde and you see black, then you know the protagonist and antagonist 100% of the time. There's no willing suspension of disbelief. That's all. Like, what do you want to read, 1990s stories? Like, to not know who the bad guys are? Yeah, that's usually how stories are told. I mean, there's some heavy hinting, but not 100% of the time. So is this all a humiliation ritual, or is there some deeper meaning? Why is everyone BLT now? And why are there so many back holes being destroyed in the name of progress? Can I be an Irish, Druid, Jewish, two-spirit, otherkin, trans, furry, lesbian? In case you don't read comics, and there's no reason you should, they're horrible. All the characters are POC, BLT, WOC, which means they like to bang each other's back holes. Now, backhole banging sounds like an adult concept, and some of these comics are geared for younger readers. So why are they introducing sodomy to kids? It seems a bit weird, as if the writers are a bunch of kitty diddlers, which they very well might be. It's kind of funny they went 180, because the best Wonder Women turn out to be men after all. With straight characters, you don't introduce their pronouns or their backhole preference. You just never discuss their sexuality, because it's usually not what you're reading a comic for. It slows the comic down. It makes the comic feel like propaganda. Besides, the looser the character is, the more you can imprint your own personality or desires onto the character. The character can be gay or straight. Unless the romance is an issue, it just never comes up. But they make it an issue. They force the issue, and it feels incredibly awkward and forced, because it is incredibly awkward and forced. It's propaganda written by midwits, I guess. They introduce pronouns as if the concept is, there's a lot of people, I think Vita, I don't know who this chick is. One of them is Vita. They're in a room with people, and they're never told their ideas are bad. That's their whole life experience of working in comics, is they don't have ideas shot down. They're just constantly fluffed. Where dudes have their ideas shot down all the time, unless you're part of a protected class, and what it does is it sharpens your skill. So they introduce pronouns into these stories as if the concept is just accepted. It's not. Many people refuse to engage in the lie because, not to be blunt, but it's sort of a mass psychosis. It's an emperor has no clothes situation. 99% of people over 40 know that it's just a fad. But it's not a fad, Dad. Yes, Yes, it is, because we were your age once, and now we're not. But it's also a left versus right issue. Sort of, though, there is a weird splinter of left-wing feminist TERFs versus left-wing trans. Then there are the super gays and the super straights, but the super gays versus the trans and the BLT. So really, it's this small trans group, pretty much versus the world. But keep in mind that most of them are trenders. They just want attention. It's actually a tiny group of people, but comics and shows are blowing it up as if it's like 20% of the population. But why are comics and shows associating kids and sexuality? Why are those concepts even being conflated, coming up at the same time? Well, mostly because they're degenerate parasites. This is hard for the normie to understand, that there really are these evil people out there. Not so much the useful idiots writing comics, they're sort of the result of long propaganda campaign, social engineering, and brainwashing that's been going on for generations. Yeah, they're small evil because they're not thinking critically about their puppet masters. They're just content to turn off their brains and let CNN do their thinking for them. Why are they so insistent on saying that men are women and BLT is the way to go? Why would they be willing to lose money to push backhole type stuff? Because that's something else the normie doesn't understand, that they're willing to lose money to push propaganda. Hearing left-wing people who, I guess some of them mean well, who think that companies are just mindless computer programs is so annoying. People run these companies. Some of them are sociopaths. They have an agenda that is adverse to yours, assuming you want a functioning civilization. They want your kids banging a furry cat lady's backholes. They want low in-group trust and low in-group preferences. They want chaos. Comics and shows are part of that propaganda. Focus. Think back to your childhood. The left-wing insane teachers, probably well-meaning, but just nuts, and the subversive globalist TV propaganda. Think how amazingly effective that was. Then consider how many years it took for the left-wing brainwashing to wear off. If you got kids reading about BLT, POC, transsexual, Wonder Woman, Africans in a Greek or South American story, then what happens when the pendulum swings back? It's going to be a wrecking ball. You're going to have a bunch of very well-dressed, well-tailored kids burning a whole bunch of books, and I hope I'm there to cheer them on. Can men be Wonder Woman? No, because men aren't women. The whole idea is silly. Men cannot be eagles either. But the Wonder Woman Well of Souls island of Lesbos now has African dudes as Wonder Women, because if you feel that you're a woman, then that is good enough. But it's the world of men and the fuzz-bumping isle of women that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have to make sense. These people are just so far up their own asses. They're in this echo chamber where they think that this is a good idea. Even though they think things are good ideas, they just keep twisting themselves into circles, this weird horseshoe theory where, like I said, it's like you've got men's sports or women's sports that are going to be dominated by men. Or you get situations like the Loudon County thing where the school board, the superintendent Ziegler and the school board Beth Bartz, where they're covering up for men doing Madeline Say acts in the women's bathroom because in the name of wokeness you got to have men in the women's room. You get that kind of stuff. It's like, were you really setting out to help women here? Because now it seems like sports, women's sports are just going to be men. I mean, if there's money at stake, you're going to find guys who are just going to be like, all right, I'm not good enough for this other team, but I sure as hell can play in the NBA. There's a lot of college guys who can't make it in the NBA, but they could play in the WNBA. It's like, oh yeah, that's $200,000 a year, playing the easiest game of basketball you play. It's like you're 6'5", you know how to ball, but you're not good enough for the pros. It's like, oh, well, you can just go to the WNBA. If you saw their parade the other day, it was truly something to behold. My point being, they take a pre-existing story and then they change everything important about it. And it's a story they had nothing to do with. It's not their creation. It's been around for a long time. And then they try to call it the same story and try to sell it to you, and it's not. It's cancer. And then people look at it and I don't know, she's getting a few hundred likes on these tweets. So what's that going to translate into sales? How many people are going to be buying this trans African BLT Wonder Woman. First issue, okay, but by issue 3, it's and why are you doing this? I mean, really, any use of your time would be better than taking a story and just tearing it apart so it bears no resemblance to the original story. And then, like these drooling idiots, they're proud of themselves. They're so proud of themselves. We did a subversion, yay! Yeah, but it sucks. I mean, it's bad writing, it's bad art. What's the point of subverting? Just the point of subverting. Oh, well, we just threw some wooden shoes into the gears. Yeah, but all you did was destroy. You didn't build anything up. Yeah, that's the point. We're subversive. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.